Hello there, this is John again. This time I'm talking to Summer, who has shared some of her stories with us before on our It's a Weird World channel a few years ago. Because at the time we weren't airing stories on the Wonderful World of Weirdness, so that's why they weren't on there. But they were very interesting. And today I have the pleasure to actually speak to her properly. So here we are. Um,
Okay.
so Summer, you were saying on the chat yesterday you wanted to talk about your early um, spiritual stuff that happened to you. Is that right?
Yeah, uh, first off, I'll introduce myself. My name's really Janine Summertide, but I use my middle name Summer, and I'm
All
from
right.
Ohio, Southwest Ohio. And I live, when I grew up, where I grew up is outside of Miami University, Oxford, Ohio.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people worked at the university there. So that gives you a little bit of background. And I'm retired now, but I've lived in Ohio all my life. So I've lived in different homes and stuff and had different experiences. But I kind of start like, uh, you know, from the beginning where I grew up. Uh,
Okay.
so uh, maybe just like a first paranormal experience,
Yeah.
you know,
Great. Yeah. Whatever
or
you want to do.
just a little story. Okay. So I grew up outside of Oxford in on a little. It wasn't a big farm, but maybe about 11 acres. We had animals and some horses and stuff like that. And the house that my parents owned was an old log cabin, and you they kind of fixed it up and remodeled it a little, and so it was an older home. I think the there used to be some weird things that happened, like I'd be asleep at night and I'd hear somebody walk into the kitchen and drop a dish in there, so I'd always think it was my dad, like out
Yeah.
there, getting a snack at night.
Yeah.
But like I would get up and he wasn't there, or I'd ask him and he was like, no, it wasn't me. So that was some little things. And then one evening we would have dinner, and my sister and I would usually do the dishes. So it was my mom and my dad and my sister and myself. So we had dinner, um, and my sister and I were doing dishes, and my mother had some coffee. She was sitting at the table, and in our kitchen, it was a small house. In our kitchen, there's a little hallway, and there's a bathroom. So my dad had gotten up from the table, and he was in the bathroom. So we're all just sitting there. It's like probably 7 o'clock in the evening, and doing our stuff. And my mom and dad's bedroom had these old, their closets, like clothing closets that
Yeah.
have doors that open and shut. And then up above them, there's two doors that would open and shut. And you could hear, like, if they were ever getting clothes or something in there, you could even hear it out in the kitchen a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're all just sitting there, and then we just hear this big ruckus in my mom and dad's bedroom. Doors opening and shut, their cupboard doors opening and shutting, and the closet and everything. And my mother was like, "Bob, that's my dad. Is that you? Is What's going on? What did you do?" But we never saw him come out of the bathroom, because in the kitchen you could see if he comes out of the bathroom, but he was clearly still in the bathroom. But I guess she was just thinking, "What is going on?" So, and then we hear him say, "What? No, I'm in the bathroom." And so
God.
he comes out. They run into the bedroom, and finally it stops, but nothing's out of place. So that was one of the scariest things I think that happened in that house that I was growing up in.
Yeah.
I've heard that people say, "Well, that's a poltergeist or something," but
Yeah. So they say they. Yeah. Never had
uh,
anything like that happen to me, other than when I was really young. We made a makeshift Ouija board, which I know the story. You shouldn't use them, but I was young. Didn't
yeah.
didn't didn't know, and we made a makeshift one up, and the glass we had on a sideboard in our living room, and there was no one anywhere near it. And one day it just like flew off, and just smashed. There's no one anywhere
Oh,
near it, and it just that was it. Just there was no one. We weren't
oh
even
my
in the room, and it
goodness.
just come off. It was just smashed. So we never know. That was
Wow.
the only thing time like that anything's happened to me that I'm aware of. Anyway,
Oh. Well, and then I'm trying to think it's um because I'll probably talk to you some more in later videos, but also I'll try to just start at the beginning. But so when I was growing up, there was that stuff like that. Oh, and also I don't know if it's called a repeat haunting or but
right?
when in that house you could when we could sit and watch our TV, but the driveway was pretty close, and so you could we had a gravel driveway, so you always hear like if my mom and dad were coming home or somebody was coming in, you'd hear them pull up and hear the car doors close. So what was really weird and like my mom and dad would go somewhere and I'd be watching TV and I would hear them pull up and get out of the car, but then I'd look out and they weren't there.
Oh,
They
that's
wouldn't come
weird.
back home until much later. So, and then my mom and dad or my mother said she would hear that too. My dad not so much. And then my kids, when I had kids, I take them over there, to stay at grandma's and my son and daughter said they heard it too because they'd stay in that room, in sleeping bags and just kind of chill out there and when they stayed all night.
Yeah,
And they're like, yeah. So we didn't know if that's like a repeat haunting or.
yeah. It's like sounds like some sort of like a time loop. Like I don't know, if a ghost or what have you. It's just like they're repeating it over and over. They're parking the car, and it seems some sort of like that, to me.
Yeah, it was so strange. Um, but yeah, but I was never really scared in that house. I mean, it's just an old house. And another time, this is real scary. My mother worked at, like I said, the university, and she was in the dining halls. So what they do in the morning is they come in and set up the salad bar for the kids and stuff. And she was there early one morning setting up, and there's not anybody around. And it's this old building. It's called Oxford College, and you could look it up because it's out there. It's supposed to be really haunted.
Yeah.
Um, It used to belong to the university, but now it's a community center. But it's called Oxford College. It was uh, I think one of the first buildings at Miami. They had it was a women's college. So anyway, she was and it's known to be haunted. But so she was going out to her stuff, set up her salad bar, and over she turned around and in this big dining area, there's like a dish line for the students to put their dishes and stuff. And so she looked over there, and there was a girl standing there. She said, with just like period clothing on,
All right. God.
like a black. I don't know if they wore uniforms back then. I'm sure they probably did, but she was like it was Victorian, and she said it wasn't. She just saw her, and she thought, well, maybe when the student came in early or something because we have student workers, but it she just disappeared.
Oh
So
God.
that was pretty scary. So,
Yeah, I never. That's something that's never happened to me. I can remember as I've ever seen a ghost. I've had a lot of experiences, but not ghosts that I've seen. Um, I've sensed them being around, but I've never like seen one physically that I can remember, other than a dog. I saw a dog as clear as day, a
really,
poodle, yeah, like in spirit, and
um,
I was he was next to me. I was in bed and I looked over and he was there, and I don't know what it means. I've never known anyone who had a dog like that, and it didn't scare me. I just saw him and that was it. And
so it wasn't a dog that you used to own or
no,
anything.
nothing, not that type of dog. No, never, no. But I saw
Wow.
that him as clear as day, and I sometimes sense sometimes people like watching me and stuff when I'm on work. And I work on my own at night here sometimes, and I can sense it, but I don't like make out that I can see them there. But I know that sometimes I can sense something like that happening.
Yeah,
Um, it's a bit
um,
freaky.
I know. I've never I've had so many paranormal things happen. but I've never actually seen a ghost.
No, I've not
But
properly seen that other than the dog. I physically saw that properly.
yeah, so
I'm
there's spirits, and I felt that the like somebody watching me and stuff. There's um actually the old farmhouse that my husband and I used to live in. Um, there was a weird thing that happened when we first moved there. Um, I was pregnant with my daughter, and he would go to work early in the morning, and so one morning he got up to go to work, and I went back to bed, and then as soon as I closed my eyes, it felt like somebody was there. So I thought, oh, he came back and forgot my husband. He came back and
oh yeah,
because he forgot something, and so I thought he was just kind of playing with me, maybe just standing there trying and watching me for a second. When I looked up, and he wasn't there, and
God,
so I was really scared because I realized he hadn't come back. So, and that was before cell phones. I didn't call him or anything, but I knew he hadn't come back. So I just closed my eyes and went back to sleep. But in that particular room, we felt a lot of stuff. And what's weird about that is I didn't tell anybody. And we'd only lived in the house about 2 months, and it was Thanksgiving. And my sisters came over. And in that bedroom there was a hallway off of the bedroom that went down to a restroom, or yeah. And my sisters were talking, and they said, one of them said, when you go in that hallway there, I feel like there's something there, like there's a
yeah,
presence or something, somebody's watching me. And that's exactly it's right there by the door in my bedroom, that where I felt like something was watching me. So it wasn't just me, and I hadn't like even put the idea into their head.
yeah.
So
I worked in a bakery, and about 100 years or so before I worked there, it was a slaughterhouse, and then it became other things. And me and
oh,
a fellow, a long-time friend of mine, we worked together there. Both of us could sense something in the corner of our eye there every night. We could, both of us couldn't see it, but in the corner of our eye we could see it, if you know what I mean. And
yeah.
I mean, we weren't scared. He just knew it was there. We don't know who it was or what it was. We just knew that it was there. And the whole time we were there, we experienced it, and it was just like part of this working. It wasn't. It was just
Right.
part of the furniture, so to speak. We didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah, it starts to kind of happen. Yeah, and the same thing with this thing, whatever it was. Eventually we remodeled the upstairs. It was a big house, and we remodeled the upstairs, and our bedroom and stuff was up there. But so we made that room like a little, like a computer area, library type thing.
Yeah.
And my kids and I and my husband, when we be in there, it would feel like somebody just would, when you're on a computer sometimes, just walk up behind you and
Oh
just
yeah.
be watching you or looking. It was so, we always felt that in that room. We don't know why, but
There was one other thing I'd forgotten about this, to be honest. It might freak some people out when I say this. But one time I was in bed and I saw, I don't know if you call it a demon, a gargoyle, whatever it was. I saw it like above me. And you think most people would be like terrified. I just don't know. I stayed right. I just thought to myself, I'm not scared of you. You don't bother me. And I think I might have said the Lord's Prayer or something because I probably inside I was pretty terrified. But in my in
yeah.
my in my my up front I was trying to be no, I'm not scared. And then it just sort of like went up to the roof and then went it out through the roof or something like that. It just went and that was it.
Wow. Well,
Um, I was
uh,
sort of I think I was awake. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I was awake. It was
so
like
is it like a
really.
like a shadow person or something, or?
No, it was like the sort of gargoyles you see like in Ghostbusters, something like that, or something like that. It
Oh,
looked like.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, I've forgotten that I saw that to be honest. But again, I don't really call it a ghost. To me, I've seen pictures of ghosts, and the pictures I've seen are really good ones. One of the best I saw was a nun in where South Wales, and it was like pure energy. It was like an energy you could see, and I think that's a proper ghost photo. and I've never been able to get a copy of it myself. But that was the best I've ever seen. But because to me, ghosts are like they're on like on a different frequency to us. If you know what I mean. Say we're on
Yeah.
say 97 megahertz, they're on 95, and occasionally you'll just certain freak conditions you'll just tune into them, and you like as you say they're watching you, or you sometimes you actually see them. Some people do, or you hear things like you've experienced, and that's to me is how I see it, how it works for them. But I don't know if it's the right way. Just that's how I see it.
Yeah, and I think some people have more of an ability to maybe see
Yeah.
them than others. The only thing I've ever seen, and I'm 63, is I saw a top hat man, which was the scariest thing ever.
All right.
Uh, yeah, in the old farmhouse I lived in, which is the one I was just discussing. My son and we would take the dogs walks. We were out in the country, so there's an old country road there, and we were out there one night, and there next door they were building a house, and so they had this big light on, this big spotlight, and there was like there was two mounds of dirt, and I think like you know, a tank for they were getting ready to put it gas. Well, there was a gas tank there for the heat. So anyway, we were walking, and I looked over where the gas tank was, and the two mounds of dirt. You could see it great because of this big light that was out there, like a big spotlight. And I saw this shadow, like a top hat man,
Yeah.
and and my son wasn't looking. So, and this was weird too. I hit him in the arm, and he was like, "What?" And he said, "I'm looking at the sky." And there was this. He saw. I I was trying to get him to look at the shadow person, and
Right.
he saw like this big light in the sky, and he couldn't figure out what it was. And he was like, "There's something in the sky." And I didn't. I looked away from the shadow person to see it, but I don't remember. I don't think I saw it,
Yeah.
but because I was so freaked out and I was trying to tell him about that top hat man. So anyway, we I got his attention. We looked back over there and it was gone. But I know what I saw, and he was just sometimes they call them watchers. Very very tall,
Yeah.
with a like a big cloak, or and I couldn't see his eyes or anything. I could just see the silhouette because it was a little far away, but it scared me. It was terrible. So we went,
I
yeah.
I've never
Um,
I've never seen a shadow person, but I in my sort of mind's eye, I think I have. There was like one like behind me once, and I knew it was there, and he was trying to put really like nasty thoughts in my head. He was trying to like project them to me, and I don't know what I did, but I sort of told him to go away, whatever, and he did. I do remember that, and again, that's just come back to me. That's a good thing of these interviews. It reminds me of stuff that's happened because I forget about
yeah,
them.
sometimes you forget, and
Yeah,
but what with this thing, even though I only saw him for just a moment, it felt so evil. It was so
yeah,
terrible. And then I went home and I was looking. Of course, I went to look it up and see if other people seen some stuff. And the interesting thing I saw was a lot of people that have seen them it's been when they're doing construction,
right,
and they were building a house next door.
all right,
This little boy, I don't know if he was little. He was a boy. He said um, that the next door neighbors were doing some stuff in their yard, and they were building a shed or something, and he saw one in the middle of the day. And so I'm wondering, is it something that kind of disturbing the ground that comes around, or what? I
yeah.
don't.
I was just thinking that, yeah, maybe when they were building, they disturbed something.
Yeah, and obvious and weirdly about those things, um, it seems like people either have an awful experience with them, or some people think that they've protected them from something happening.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure about those, but I know in my experience, it was terrible. And then, oh, that was what reminded me of it. My son, there was all kinds of things that happened in that house, but he said he saw these things. Him and his girlfriend up on the ceiling, kind of like what you said, but maybe just lots of little black things.
All right. God.
And girlfriend was going to leave. She actually was going to leave. But my son was like, I'm just, don't be fearful of them, then they won't come back.
Yeah, that's true. They play on your fears. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Um, so I'm not sure what those entities are.
No.
But you think, I know I'm pretty much, most of the time it seems like the shadow people and the top hat men are not good.
Yeah, yeah. Especially the top hat man. He's supposed to be the most, yeah, the baddest of them all, meant to be, from
Yeah,
what I remember. Oh,
right.
God, I
So,
hope I don't see one. No, but you're right though. I think anyone who watches this, anyone who's had an experience with them, I think you've got to show that you're just not scared of them, even if you are deep down. You just don't show that you're scared of them because that's
but it's very hard because
yeah. I know, of course it would
even
be. Yeah,
though he was kind of far away, I was terrified, and I could just feel the evilness.
yeah,
It just come.
yeah. Because they're attracted to your light, that your energy. They're they're like that because they've lost the light or they got very little light in them. Or, that's where they shadow people because darkness, isn't it? Because they haven't got the light in their souls.
And they emanate that.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is a scary story, but it's really not about a ghost. But I do think you feel people's energy.
yeah, yeah.
I used to work at like a fast food restaurant, and I was pretty young, and there was this guy who come in with a couple other guys from that university. They were on a trucking crew, and they'd come in to get breakfast, and they were always really nice. And the one guy, he was lots older than me, and I think he kind of liked me. So he came to the drive-through one day, and one of my friends was kidding around with him and said I wanted to go out with him, which I didn't. And so he came back later and said something to me about it, and I said, no, I said she was just kidding. I said, no, I'm not interested. And this guy that always came in with these other two guys, always so friendly, there was just something, he just like switched off, like
Yeah.
like he scared me, just the way he looked at me and stuff. And he said something I can't even remember because it's been many years ago. And I thought, there's something. He just scares me. So anyway, I told my friend, I said, don't be fooling with him anymore. I said, because I don't like that. And he's not, there's something with him. So this is what's really weird. Later, I think it was a couple years after that, there was a murder in Oxford, Ohio. There was a woman was stabbed to death and her two daughters, and they set and somebody set the house on fire. So that for a while they couldn't figure out who it was and blah blah blah. Well, it was that man.
Oh no way. Oh my
That
God.
man. And I couldn't believe it because I told my husband, I said, I don't know, maybe that's what I felt about him. He just like he was so nice, and then he kind of switched into something. He's just really dark. He's
Yeah.
got that. So, and yes, for some reason, something happened with them. Like he had rented the basement, and her husband, the woman was married, had rented him the basement, and he came back, and there's an altercation supposedly about rent or something, and he just supposedly went crazy and when
Wow.
they stabbed her and her girls, and it was like a triple homicide and set the house on fire. And I was
Oh
like,
my
oh
God.
my goodness. So you can feel those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if you've ever met a person where something's they just give you that
I probably have. I can't remember it, but I probably have. Yeah. I know.
yeah.
I went to I was by a forest once, and I don't know what it was. I couldn't hear anything. There was nothing. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, but I just knew there was something in there that wasn't really pleasant. You know, I just knew it. I remember experiencing that, but people, because I'm quite old myself now, I can't remember, but probably it has happened. Um, I do sort of get the instinct sometimes that I've got to like
Hold on,
shield
Bertrand.
myself from some people, if you know what I mean. I've got to like, because I'm quite open person. I'm sort of person. If you saw me in the street, I'd be talking away. I'd talk to anyone, you know. I crack jokes with
Yeah.
people. I'm that sort of person. But some people, I sort of get the thing. No, not this person. No, just stay away. Don't speak. You just get that guarded feeling. You've got to keep yourself guarded with this one. I do get that. I don't know, but not to the experience of what you've had. No, no, I haven't had that I remember anyway.
Yeah, I think it's, hold on. Alexa, stop. Yeah, I'm sorry, the alarm was on. Um, what was I going to say? Um, they call it, especially for women, it's called the power of fear.
Yeah,
You know, always, we talk
yes,
ourselves
fear.
out of things, but listen to those intuitions about people. Um, and yeah, it's just something I think you have in it to protect yourself. Like, what was in that? What you think? There could have been something that maybe just an animal, or who knows,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know to this day. I've never heard of anything happening in that forest, but it was just something there, and I thought, no, there's something not right.
Yeah.
You know, really strange. I've never been there since, so I don't know if I'd feel the same if I went there now, because it's quite far from where I live, so I don't know. But I just,
Yeah.
no,
Right. Yeah, but so I never forgot that. Like, and I was pretty young, so I was always like, well, I kind of listen to my intuitions, maybe more than some other people
Yeah.
do, or, you know,
Well, one thing
um,
I got a healer friend, almost like a teacher in a way. He helped me in the past. And he said to me, because I've said to him that sometimes I experience this, experience that, I have this thing in my head, that thing. And he said, take note of them all, he said. All mean something. And I really stuck by that since he told me that, because to be honest, I believe him. I think it's true. Most of the time you get, like I don't know, you could be talking about something, you could have an image in your head to do with that, and you just maybe ignore it. And you said, well, maybe you shouldn't. That could be the other side trying to tell you something, and you just don't. Not everyone is open to it. But he said to me, no, if you think you're getting some sort of sign, message, listen to them. Try to be open to it, find out what it means, or anything. And I've sort of stuck to that because that made sense to me, and I would say 99% of the time that is right. Everything that I've been open to, which maybe I wouldn't have in the past, is now is I've been seeing, well, yeah, this is right. you know,
yeah.
you know what I
And
mean?
I think on a level, we all communicate or something, because, I'm sure this has happened to you where um, you just think about a person maybe you used to work with, or an old friend or something, and then they'll call, or or you'll be talking to someone else, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw so and so the other day," and
Yeah.
so you're picking up on something, right?
Yeah, yeah. I used to know, through a spell when I used to know who was ringing me, going back to the old days before we had mobiles and the house phones, and there was no caller ID or anything. I used to know who was ringing me before I answered the phone. Don't ask me how, but I just used to know. you know. I Nowadays it's easy now because you pick up your phone and it's your. But even now, without picking up
Yeah.
my phone, I know who's ringing me without even seeing
Oh,
who the caller
really?
is. Half the
So
time
you
now.
can tap into that, right?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. And I had, and this was just a little period in my life, which was really strange. When I lived out in the old farmhouse with my husband, where I kind of knew, I think was it two or three people? I think it was three people that were going to die. Or
yeah,
maybe it's just two, but it was scary because I don't know. I didn't pick. I had never picked that up before. Like, our one neighbor, he was real sweet, and he'd come up and bring us vegetables and stuff from his garden. And we were younger, and he was probably in his 50s, but he didn't seem too unhealthy. So, one day he came up. with some corn or something. And I was just talking to him, and this thought came into my head. I thought he's going to die. I was like, what in the world is the matter with me?
Hmm.
You know, like you said about thoughts
Yeah.
sometimes. So anyway, I just kind of dismissed it, and I talked to him, and he left. And it was like the next week, I got a, I saw my another neighbor, and he said, "Did you know that your neighbor just passed away?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Yeah, he was at he actually the man had went to the hospital with his wife. His wife's going to have some knee surgery or something, and he had an aneurysm right there in the hospital and passed away." And they said, "You know, nobody expected it." So that was really odd.
Um,
And then there was another neighbor I had that I didn't know very well. You know, one of these neighbors you just kind of wave at, and somebody told me, they said, "Well, you know, he's got cancer and he's not doing too well." But then that had been like a year ago, so I figured, you know, I didn't even think about it. I thought, well, he's probably better, but I would wave at him. And one night I got up and I just thought of him, and I thought, you know, I think he passed away.
hmm.
And so it's really weird. So I told my husband, just in case, because this had happened kind of before. And he was like, yeah, okay. And so lo and behold, I found out that he passed away that very week. That same day, you know, the evening, I thought that
Yeah.
um, he succumbed to cancer. But I really wouldn't have known that. And but the weird thing is my husband got sick, and he passed away pretty quickly, and I didn't pick up on any of that. So you know, maybe it's if you're closer to people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
The closeness there.
But sometimes there's an energy around people. Like I worked with a lady, and I felt like something was going to happen to her. And another coworker said, "Yeah, I just there's something not right with her," and she almost died. She went into like a diabetic coma, and but she lived, but we both thought that we picked up on that.
Yeah.
So
Um, funny enough now, going back, I was quite young. Um, I'm sure it happened twice. I definitely remember it happening once. I Two people in the area around me died quite suddenly. They weren't ill, but it was like I saw something on them. It was like a mark on them, and I realised afterwards. Um, I saw this mark on one person, and then they died, and everything, nothing of it. And then I saw it on another person, and I thought, hang on a minute, I sort of being shown that these people are ready, they're gonna die, like. And I thought, oh my god, I don't want this, and I must have like blocked it out, and it's never happened since, thank God, because it's not something I want, an ability I want, if you know what I mean. It wasn't very pleasant at all, but I can't tell you what I actually saw. I just saw something on them, like some sort of mark on their head, and I knew that they were going to go. I knew it like after that I knew it, if you know what I mean.
yeah, well, see
Um,
that's
and that was like
well,
really freaked me out.
I know. Well, yeah, and you may be blocking it because some people just don't want to know that,
No,
but
I wouldn't want to know. No, no.
yeah, you know, it felt like when I was talking the first time it happened that I maybe there was just something shifted in when I was talking to him. I don't know what it was that made the thought come into my head. So maybe there was something in his. They have what is it called, an aura? They
Yeah,
said you know some people can see them real good, and
yeah,
maybe I saw that like even though I couldn't see it, I could feel it or something.
yeah. We
You
see
know,
a
I know
lot.
some psychics say there's all they can see the auras around people and they know when people are going to die.
Yeah,
So,
I think you see a lot with our mind's eyes. That the more open we are to the spiritual universe, the more we see. I think.
yeah, but it scares some people. Like my daughter's very, she has psychic dreams and stuff,
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff, but she is scared of it, so she blocks a lot of that out.
Did your parents have any spiritual abilities, or your mum or anything?
Um, Not really, not that I know of.
Right.
No, I heard that my husband had an aunt that did.
Right.
So, and my
Okay.
son's very, I think he should be into like healing and things like that. He's into a lot of spiritual things, and
Yeah. Because
he
I've
picks
looked.
up things.
I noticed some with some people, it seems to like go through the family, if you know what I mean. The ability seems to, because I mentioned in my last interview, as I think you saw, my
Yeah.
one of my sons is a healer. I actually forgot. My youngest son is a healer as well, and he's absolutely amazing. He doesn't really even realize what he's doing. But I haven't said this on camera before, but on video before. But there was one time a few years ago, I had neuralgia in my mouth, extreme nerve pain. It was really painful.
Oh.
And he came up to me, he touched my face, and he said, "Oh, I'll make it better, Daddy." So I just stroked my face. I never thought anything of it. Do you know? Within almost minutes, it was gone. The pain was gone, and I never thought at the time. And I thought to myself, he's just healed me, and I don't think it came back. I think it went. I don't think it ever came back after it. Or if it did,
Yeah.
it wasn't so bad. And he was like 4 years of age, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so he doesn't take he hasn't taken any classes or
Oh
anything,
no. Well,
right?
no, nor have I.
Any
No, never. No, no. We've just. It's just.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
see that my son, like he's done that before to, and people say swear, and actually I should ask him. My boyfriend that I'm seeing now has sciatica real bad,
Yeah.
and it causes him a lot of pain. So it's worth a try. I
Yeah.
think I
Of
asked
course.
my son maybe to do his mojo on him and see if it
Yeah.
works. It can't hurt, right? But I know that some people. I'm pretty sure that he can. So he can.
Yeah.
He's cool.
I discovered it by accident that I could with one of my dogs when I was younger. Again, that freaked me out, but two different events, it came back to me, thankfully.
So you don't you now that So do you heal people, or have you taken any courses in it? I don't know if there's anything you can do. You kind of just have it, right?
Um,
And
yeah, I tend to. A few years ago, I was healing a lot. Quite a bit, and then I got COVID. I got COVID, and again, not didn't have it too bad that I had to hospitalize or anything like that. But it sort of knocked me for six and then I had a bit of a traumatic event after that, which I can't really say about here.
yeah,
And between the two, my healing sort of like stopped for like a year, and then I realised it was starting to come back, but it came back and it was much stronger and it was different. It was more visualized. It was nearly all subconscious rooted. I wouldn't like before. I'd put my hands on people, try to heal them, and a little bit of remote healing. Now it's nearly all remote healing and it's subconscious healing. And I know it's subconscious because I get asked someone if they want help and they'll even say no to me. And yet the next day they're thanking me that I've helped them. I thought, I haven't done a thing. You know what I mean? But they know that I have because of the way they
oh,
are. So, which actually suits me much better because when I was physically healing people, I would be drained and it would be um because you're basically in your healing, you're channeling energy from the other side. But when I'm physically healing, you're channeling, yes, but you're also, I think, using your own energy as
yeah,
well,
your energy,
and
yeah,
you're not protecting yourself. Whereas when you're healing subconsciously, even remotely, it's not as bad. You're it's almost entirely you're channeling without doing anything yourself, which is actually suits me down to the ground because it's it doesn't take so much physically out of me because I've been real bad way. Sometimes after healing people, I've been so like drained um,
yeah. I heard that
and
you
stuff.
can, yeah,
But
yeah. Wow. I'll have
so
to ask my son to maybe. Um, he hasn't done it in a while, and because he works a lot, and now he's kind of got away from it. But I know he can.
well,
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to have.
you could ask him to try and focus on your partner's back
Yeah, I will.
from wherever he lives, and see if that helps. Because that's the way that I do it. I focus on. I'm trying to help someone now who's very ill. I don't know. It's maybe too ill, in fact, for me to help him. But I am trying to help him, and I'm focusing on the area where they need to help the most, daily trying to. But uh, again, I don't know when that's going to work. I don't know. But
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that's the way it used to work for me that way. Yeah,
yeah, and sometimes if a person's too sick,
yeah.
um, but
Because
yeah,
healing is like your um, how can I say? Say I was trying to heal you now. I'd be giving you like a. Everyone's got their own ability to self heal. Everyone has it. But if you're really ill, then obviously that, or if you're really quite close to the spirit world, again, it could be very difficult to actually access that or use that. But when I heal people, I put my energy into them, and like it's their energy a huge boost, and so then they start to heal themselves with my energy and their energies combined. That's how it works. That's how I see it. As it works. So
wow.
I don't know why. I don't know why I said that now. I can't remember. There was a reason for that. I can't remember what it was now. But so say yeah, because you said about that person they were too sick. So even though I say I got huge amounts of energy, this person might be too ill to really for it to take effect now. So
But I guess you would, you have to kind of try so you can
yeah, I have to
see.
try. Yeah,
But yeah, but a lot of people don't believe in it. But I don't think you have to believe in it for somebody to heal you.
no,
Um,
not always.
but
No, no, you don't know because I had one person who was bedridden with COVID, and I never met them, never spoke to them. He was a friend of a friend, and I helped them. The next day, they were walking around, and they were out of hospital 2 days later.
yeah,
So I never met them. They didn't know. I don't know if they knew that I was going to try and help them. I don't know if their friend told them. I'm not sure, but because that did work. But I don't know that person. He could have been maybe very spiritually aware for all I know, because I never met the person, so I don't know.
yeah.
You
Sometimes
don't know, like.
if you're open to it more. But
Yeah, it
yeah, I
definitely
forgot
helps. Yeah,
about my son being that way, and because it's been a while since he's done anything, and I think he did something with my daughter. I can't remember what it was. Something was hurting her, and he did it, and she was fine.
yeah. It sounds like he is a healer for sure. It does sound
Yeah,
like
and when we lived in the old house, and there was spirits there. I think there were a few good ones, and there was something that wasn't so good there.
yeah,
Uh, and he seemed to be able to keep things away and keep things balanced out there. I feel like it was his energy that did.
yeah.
You
Oh, that makes
know,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, right. Oh, goodness.
I think there's
Well,
some people
yeah.
we're going to watch these videos, like the video I did the other day, and then they'll be thinking, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? But we know what we're talking about. But some people, other people, then obviously get it because they're open to stuff like this. But
Right. Well, and it's hard. People that don't believe in things like even my new boyfriend, he does, but he doesn't. But I told him, I said, well, I lived in a haunted house for like 30 years. So
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, really odd.
mm,
But there's all kinds of things that have happened to me. And and like in my early, I was talking about from youth, I guess. I moved down to my parents' house, and we moved into a house in um around Oxford, but nothing really happened in that house. So, my husband and I only lived there about 4 years, but I did have an experience that changed me a lot. I had a car accident when I was going to work one day from there. Um, I actually pulled out in front of a semi, and it hit me broadside.
God,
I thought that I was just going to die because it was like you see something like that happening, it's all in slow motion. Um, so I was sure I was going to die. So I like put my arm up over my head. I went down to the side of the seat, and I felt something in the car. It was like this warmth. It was like, and I could, how you said you can feel things or see things in your head.
yeah,
It was like I feel like it was a woman, and I think it was an angel. And she said, "It's okay. Everything's going to be all right." and I kind of calmed down. It was this, I don't know, I thought I died because it just felt so loving and warm, and so anyway, um I end up out on the street because my seat went out the passenger door, and I had a seatbelt on, which was weird, but the seatbelt had gotten cut off just at the right time,
Oh God.
so it didn't like tear me in half. But anyway,
Oh,
it was a terrible accident, and like because it was broadside and it wrapped my car around the semi and everything. So I don't know, but anyway, all I had was like a broken arm um and some bruising from the whole thing.
wow.
But after that, my parents we'd never went to church or done, I wasn't, they weren't religious. But after that, I was like, I know there's guardian angels. Everybody says you have one. And that one had to work overtime that morning. So I think that's what that was.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
Yeah,
but
'cause
because, and I don't know if they can intervene in any other way, but when my husband went to look at the car, like I said, I had my seatbelt on, which is normally a good thing, and it was a good thing in the accident because it did hold me, kept me from flying around. But when he hit the my car broadside, it the seat, like I said, the impact was so hard, it busted the seat loose and was going out the passenger door. Well, I'm on the seat, right, with the belt on.
yeah,
And if the belt had held me in place, I'm sure I would have been killed, probably from internal injuries. But anyway, so my husband went to look at the car and he told me, he said, it's so weird. He said, right down where the seatbelt is, he said, I would have thought like it would be like ripped and torn. But he said it was like something just sliced it off. He said it looks like somebody cut it with a knife or something.
wow.
And so, I never thought about that. So we had talked about that a couple times. And when my son was a little boy, and this is weird, like I said, we are not real religious and stuff. So he didn't know anything about, people didn't talk to him about the Bible or angels or anything. And you know what he said? He said, Mom, it's probably the Archangel Michael. I was
Hmm.
like, what are you talking about? He said, because he has the sword and he probably just cut it. And that
Wow.
was the strangest thing because my husband's like, where did he hear about the Michael, the Archangel? I was like, I don't know. I've never talked to him about that. You know, it was the weirdest thing. So my son's always been a little different like that, anyhow. But then I got to thinking about that, many
Yeah.
years later, maybe that was what happened. Because even my husband was like, I don't understand. He said, in an accident, lots of weird things happen. He said, must have been something down at the door pretty sharp. But he said it just looked like it broke loose or was cut loose right at the perfect time,
Hmm.
which it was
Yeah.
because, yeah.
God.
But but I've never, and I think, if you've heard of people talk about passing away, what do you call it, out of body experience, or
Yeah.
they die and they come back. That's what it felt like when I was in that car with that whatever happened. That's why I thought when I got out of the car and I got up and I was walking around on the road, I thought that I was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people running around and talking to me, but I thought I'm not really alive because that's whatever I just encountered is, I'm in heaven or something, and I'm gonna go to heaven here soon or whatever or wherever. But it was so light and warm, and but then I realized I wasn't even hardly hurt. So
Yeah. That's quite amazing. Years ago, I was in a car crash, but I wasn't driving. I couldn't drive back then. Actually, I was in the passenger seat, and basically a joyrider. We were going up a hill, and the joyrider decided to overtake another car. So basically, he was on
oh
our side of the road coming towards us.
yeah.
So that the girl that I was with at the time, she turned the car to try to avoid him, but it took basically the side of our car off on her side because I was on the other side.
Oh my goodness.
And we were both fine. She had it's covered in glass, but miraculously she was fine. Both of us are fine. But it was like, how can I say? When he hit us, you did think you felt a big impact. I felt no impact at all. There was absolutely nothing. It was like a little, like someone just tap you on the arm. It was just absolutely nothing. I got
Yeah.
out of the car and, well, other than the shock, yeah, a shock. We were totally fine. The car was a mess, but we were both totally fine. We went to hospital as like a precaution, because especially because the girl I was with, she had glass all over her, but she had like one tiny scratch from it, and she was totally fine, and I was fine, and that was it. And I often think I'm sure something happened that night because I should have felt some impact. I felt absolutely nothing at all in the car,
Yeah.
so I
When
don't know
I
if I was protected that day. I don't know, but obviously nowhere near the severity of what you went through. God, like I've never been in that position.
But yeah, but when yeah, well, I remember the crash and everything. It was so loud. It was just tremendously loud. So it's weird that you said you didn't hear all that. That
No,
seems a lot of the trauma of a car accident is like all the, just the noise and stuff. So that's really odd that you didn't hear anything.
no, it was something like I switched off. It was like I'd gone to another world. You know, like you do when you daydream and you're miles away. In that instant I was like miles away and whatever. That's what it felt like, and I didn't feel nothing. Didn't hear a big noise. Nothing.
Well,
It was it's really odd. I look back in it now.
that's strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They say we all have like they say you're supposed to have these guardian angels. So I think you do. You
Yeah,
do.
I think I've seen mine in a like a like sometimes. What can I say? Sometimes late at night, I sort of drift off and I see different things. I go to different worlds, all sorts of stuff, which is and something else for the story the other day. But I did see, I think they were my guardian angels. Was it three or four, like figures, like like you see if you saw you watching like Lord of the Rings or something like that. You people with they had all armor on them, really strong fighters, and
Yeah.
two of them, and one of them was a lady who was in purple or something. And I remember I saw that, and then I woke up. I was just like, what am I seeing? Not woke up, come around, and I don't know what that meant, but someone told me they thought it could be my guardian angels, but I'm not really sure. I don't know what it meant. There were three like strong, um, look like fighters in a sense, and I just say I don't know what it meant though. But
Yeah.
funny enough, I had that happen to me the day when I started to heal again after the long layoff. And I started to
Yeah.
think to myself, okay, I want to heal again, but I said I'm not protected enough. I don't protect myself enough. And lo and behold, that night I had that image in my head. So
Oh,
make of that
well,
what you will.
okay.
So I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but I do feel
Wow.
more protected than I used to by far. Much more protected. Um,
Yeah.
Not a waste now, actually.
Yeah.
But there you
Wow.
go.
That's strange. Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to carry on talking? We've been talking nearly an hour now. Do you want to?
Yeah. Well, it's up to you. I'm sure you do have other interviews you need to do. That's fine.
I got no more interviews today. No, I haven't today.
Okay.
But
Well, we can wrap it up with I'm trying to think if you want me to tell you another
yeah,
paranormal story.
that's that's fine.
I
That's
have
great. Yeah.
tons. I'm trying to think. Okay, this was when I was younger too. I'm trying to do it like from when I, in a progressive manner.
Yeah.
Um my sister lived in an older home in Oxford at around that university. Um and I think Oxford, Ohio is like a weird little town. I think it's got a lot of hauntings at that university, just some older buildings. But anyway, back to her. She was renting a house, and I was probably about 13, and I would go up there sometimes and stay with her. But one day, she came home, and all of her kitchen cupboards, like all the cabinets were open. All the chairs had been pulled out away from her kitchen table. Nobody had broke into the house, and she was so scared. She just left the home until her husband got home that night. And this house was weird. Uh, One night I was there and we were all sitting at the kitchen table, and it was an older home, so you have these big archways and you can see through to another couple rooms. Have you ever seen those kind of homes?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's open, and it was kind of pretty. And so we're sitting there just chatting away, and it just sounded like somebody dropped a refrigerator or something right in the next room. And I mean, it just boom.
hmm,
And it wasn't like we have earthquake or anything there. I mean, there was nothing going on that night. And so we're all just like, oh my goodness, what was that? So she had, and then she had a dog too, like a German Shepherd that wasn't afraid of anything, but he would not go into the basement. And that might have been like he just didn't like the stairs,
yeah,
but she said like she would go, it was a basement with a cement floor, so, and then she kept her house really clean. And so she'd go down there, she went down there to do the laundry a few times, and it looked like something had, there was a little bit of water down there. Like she said something would be drugged through the water.
yeah,
But there wasn't really, they didn't have critters or anything. And there wasn't, it was a really clean basement and pretty airtight. So she said it really kind of scared her. The whole house was just weird. But oddly enough, she moved out in um my boyfriend at the time, well, I was married before. Him and I needed a place to live pretty quickly, so we took over the lease, and I was kind of scared because there's some scary stuff going on in this house. But when him and I, we only lived there about a year, but nothing happened when we were there. The energy was different. So I don't know
yeah,
if it was something that was after her and her husband, maybe kind of went into their, was after their energy, or sometimes it's your
yeah,
energy. I don't know.
yeah. I do believe that can happen. Yeah, I think spirits are like attracted to certain energies, and for different reasons and what have you, different people and the way they are. So that does make total sense. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if that's a poltergeist either, with the all those kitchen cabinets being opened. I don't know.
yeah.
But that,
That's something I don't know a lot about this poltergeist. I don't really. I think.
yeah, I don't know that I even believe in the poltergeist thing. I'm just thinking it's just a spirit. So like
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. I would just say it's because I experienced can we say, something in the house here where there was a spirit of a little girl was here. I didn't ever actually saw her, but I knew that she was here, and she was always like hiding stuff and moving stuff and stuff like that, but not like slamming doors or anything like that. Nothing to that extreme. But I do know that yeah, it was like my keys, but I always put them. I go to get them, and I knew where they were like a minute before. Go there, they were gone. Stuff like that. But never, nothing in a bad way. It was almost like mischievous, nothing like bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but but not never had like the stream with doors and slam anything like that. I've never had anything like that happen to me. And to be honest, I'm glad.
Right.
I don't think I'd want it, because even though obviously experience a lot of spiritual stuff, the sort of frightening stuff, I'd probably be like a big scaredy cat. I'm not really that for me. No, I don't want that. You know,
Yeah.
uh, no exorcisms for me. Like I don't want to be a part of anything like that. So
Well, I don't know. Working at Miami University, it's like an older university, and there's a lot of scary stuff that kind of goes around up there. So,
yeah,
yeah, I have a few stories from there even. But yeah.
yeah,
So,
because some spirits don't want to move on. They just how can I say they um when they pass, it could be a traumatic death. Sometimes traumatic death, they don't pass on. They just hang around as if they don't realize that they're dead, and they don't go towards they go back trying to search for the answers why this what's happening and what have you. And it could happen like over the centuries and over the, it depends how long this building's been there. It could be events because of that before that, or you just don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Because
I,
it all exists. It's even though we don't see it, there could be like 30, say in that place you just said now, university. There could be like 30 strange events or deaths that happen over an area for over like say 50 years. We don't know about them, but them spirits could be reliving them over and over and over. If you know what I mean. That's why you sometimes you
right.
pick up on it.
And sometimes I think like a person will be protective of something that
Yeah.
they feel like they put a lot of effort into in their life. Like there's a hall in at my university is called Peabody Hall, and like I said, you can look this up. You could just find it on the internet. It's called Peabody Hall. It's the oldest building on campus, and that was initially a women's uh, college there too. And there was a woman that was oversaw everything. Her name was Miss Peabody, I think. Yeah, and so it's still there. And they say like the she, now there's like the dorms, the men and girls live together, but this woman supposedly hates men,
All
and
right.
if any of the boys that live there, she's always doing mean stuff to them and scaring them.
Mm.
like, like one student said that his phone ring in the middle of the night. He took the phone off, like he unplugged it, and it was still would ring and wake him up and stuff like that.
Oh
So
wow.
she tries to be protective of the girls. Still, they say, and I think she just has never really left the place. And it was funny because I went for a job interview there, um, and the guy that was interviewing me, he said, "I'm sure you've heard that this place is haunted." I said, "Yeah, I've heard all the stories about Peabody." And he's like, "Well, let me tell you, it is." So he didn't tell me what.
Yeah.
He was like, "So if you get this job, be prepared." I was like, "Oh, great."
There is this is nothing spiritual here, but it's just reminding me of something you were saying about this Peabody didn't like men. There's a dog who the owner's friends with my partner. We sometimes walk on the beach and stuff together. This area
Yeah,
where I live, and this dog has been abused. It was a breeder's dog and beautiful retriever dog, beautiful dog, and she's very scared of men. When she first met me, she was always 20 or so yards, always away from me. She walks off a lead, wouldn't go near me.
yeah,
As time's gone on, she then would go, she got closer, she would get like about 5 yards away from me. And I just would not look at her. I just like turn to the side away from her and letting her come to me if she wants to. And lo and behold, a few weeks ago, might have been about a month ago now, she came over to me and actually and licked my hand, and I was so pleased because she doesn't go near people because of her past, and I was
yeah.
like over the moon about it. I was just like, oh, this is so nice, such a beautiful dog. Just reminded me. I know it's nothing spiritual there, but it was just maybe in a way it is. I don't know, but
Well, I don't
just
know.
so
In a way,
nice, you know.
energy, your energy isn't, you didn't like look the dog in the eye and go right towards it, or you just didn't force yourself on the dog. So
No,
it is a
no,
little about energy, but yeah,
no. What I would do is if she looked at me, I would look the other way. You
yeah,
know, I was just like, no, I'm not. I wouldn't like look at her directly. Look always to the side, and then
yeah,
eventually
because
she just came to me. So it was nice, so nice, you know. So
yeah, oh, but wow, it's amazing.
yeah. So
Huh.
there we are. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because an hour. I think about an hour, 10 minutes. It's been.
Yeah,
It's just not just for. I could talk for hours. It's just that
yeah, me too.
you don't want to put videos out too long because people are just not. They're not going to watch the end.
Right,
And sometimes it's the best
they're
stuff
gonna
is
lose
at the end,
interest.
isn't it?
So yeah, but like I said, we can do this every now and again,
Yeah, for sure.
and I'll just pick up from like I'm trying to kind of with my age. So, there's some stuff there's some things that happened to me in my early childhood and maybe my early 20s. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I'd love that. Yeah, I'm still trying to get more people to do interviews. I mean, I've got one lined up for next week, and I've got to be. I will be. I have people interviewing me as well, so I've got to do that as well. So I've got that to do.
Well, that's cool. And well, I'm glad that you started that channel again because I know it kind of faded away. The other one, I don't know what happened. So
Yeah, it's I can't even remember the reasons for it. It's just
I know COVID came around, and was that kind of when
yeah,
it?
that knocked it the first time around. Then I started to try like a Mark II one for weirdness, and I don't know, something happened again there. I know I saw a video of a person who lost their daughter through through
Oh,
drugs, fentanyl. I don't know how you pronounce.
fentanyl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I lost a nephew through that. Yeah.
And anyway, she posted a video, and it was one of the most clearest videos I've ever seen of spiritual activity, of a daughter coming through. I could see it like through there was orbs and the colours, and I just knew it was her, and it's incredible. So I asked. That was going to be my next video last when I stopped last year, permission to show that video, and she, because she was still grieving so much, obviously she
Yeah.
said no
So
to me,
you
which I
would.
I totally get, I totally understand. Um, but it really like knocked me for six. I thought, oh my god, I'm like doing all these videos trying to show like evidence of stuff here and there, and this is one of the most genuine things I've ever found in my life, and I can't share it. And obviously, I was respected the person's wishes. I would never go behind the back and do it. And it knocked me for six, and I said, well, no, and I just stopped. And I never thought I was going to come back to it. And it's only through a friend, Roger Hanson, who I deal with him a lot on Minds, which is a platform like YouTube in a sense, but there's
Oh,
more stuff. It's quite good actually, quite a lot of stuff on there. And he's on that big time, and I went over there onto there as well. And he said about he wanted to interview me, and when he interviewed me, it was almost like it awakened something in me, and hence here I am now. you know, and I've got other ideas for videos and stuff for the channel, proper videos as well. It's just trying to find time to fit it all in because there's so much
right.
going on.
Yes. Especially with you've got little, like a kid, so that's
Yeah,
always.
and I've got other channels as well. So it's just trying to balance
Yeah.
it all out.
Well, I'm gonna try to get my son to talk to you. He's
Yeah,
very, but like I said, he works, so it's kind of hard unless you did something on a weekend or something because he's like at work right now. So
yeah.
yeah.
I know it's
Um,
just hard with my son home the weekend. If I know for a fact he's not going to be home on a certain day, I could try to contact you just so we can sort something out. But at the moment, I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
and I said my son, he's very interesting. He's got a lot of things that has happened to him too. So yeah.
yeah,
Okay, well, I'll let you go. It's just been great talking about some of the things that have happened, and yeah,
yeah, it's very interesting. It's fun.
continue
I
on.
enjoy these conversations a lot because I like the one I did with Karma the other day. It's sort of like um, it opens you up in a sense because you remember stuff as well, and it's good to sort of share stuff, from on my side of stuff. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah,
perspective.
because it's funny, and well, I'm not sure how old you are, but well, I'm getting older. But it's funny, I'll forget stuff,
Yeah, I forget it.
and when
Yeah,
you're talking about it, you start remembering things. Like my daughter just had a little boy, and she'll ask me stuff about when they were little, and a lot of it I've forgotten. But as I start going around him and visiting with him, it brings up
brings
things
it
that
back.
I
Yeah,
forgot.
58 I am. You're asking
Yeah.
my age. Yeah, going on 70, I think.
Oh, 58. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm 63. Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
getting up.
No, trying to keep myself active because I've seen too many people when they not so much when they get a bit older, not so much my age, when they get a bit older, they just stop doing stuff. I walked 2 miles with my dog this morning, and I walk another mile and a half after again. So we usually by walking and do basketball in the summer with my son outside, try to keep myself active that way, walking on the beaches and stuff. Because we got surrounded by him here. I try and keep myself active, to
Yeah, exercise is a big one, and just doing stuff you love, and just
yeah,
going on and not worrying about being old. Some people are like every day they're like, "Oh, I'm so and so old," and I'm like,
yeah,
"Well." Stop.
Yeah, I just call my some of my friends call me Peter Pan because I'm like a big kid. Literally, I'm not 58 in myself, if you know what I mean, because the way I
Yeah.
am. But no, I determined to try and keep myself active as long as I can because my mother passed away when she was 40, so she never had the chance to sort of keep herself active, bless her. But my
Wow.
dad never, he passed away when he was 70, I think, through he had cancer. But he didn't really do anything active for the last 20, 30 years of his life. He did nothing, activities much. And he should have, but there we go. So I'm
Yeah,
determined.
I
I'm not
think
going to,
it's staying not only active physically, but staying active with your mind
yeah,
and having lots of different interests and things that you enjoy every day.
yeah. Well, I say I
So,
enjoy this. And I see tomorrow I've got I'm part of Roger's doing, he's doing, what's in, the mind's gone blank now. Karma's like life story, the person I interviewed a few days ago. So I'm sitting in, so I'm going to be in there as well, and like
oh,
asking
okay.
questions and stuff. So that's going to
Is
be interesting.
it a video that people can watch or something?
Yeah, it's on. Uh, I'm not sure. It's going to be on the Minds platform. I don't know if he's going to put it on YouTube. If he does, we're pre-recording it tomorrow, and I'm going
Okay.
to try and record it anyway. I'll try and record it as well, and maybe I can sort something out because I'm not sure if I'll put that on my channel because it's not actually me. Um, I won't be interviewing. I'm not sure. I'll see. But when I get a hold of a link, I'll pass it on to you. Yeah, for sure,
Okay, I
definitely.
appreciate that. Well, I'll let you go. God goodness, it's almost 8:30 here. So, okay.
Nearly 1:30.
Um,
Yeah,
what time is it there?
1:30 in the afternoon. Yeah,
1:30. Isn't that weird?
yeah, not in the
Okay.
morning. You didn't be
Well, yeah.
snoring if it was the morning. You'd be dropping off here and now and then. It was the morning. So
Right. Okay, well, we'll chat again because, like I said, it's kind of nice for me to kind of go through stuff. I love to tell stories, and a lot of times people don't believe me, or I'll tell them here and there, and people are like, "Oh, okay, you know."
yeah,
That's,
no, this is great.
and
No, I
my
really enjoyed
son,
this. It's really good. Thank you very much.
yeah, and my son believes, he believes in all the stuff, but I've told him all the stories, so
Is
okay.
one option if I can't able to interview your son anytime soon. He could record a story if he wants to, but it'd probably be better if I was able to talk to him. I don't know, but yeah, he could
Oh,
record
yeah.
something, stuff down that way.
He could, because and also he's a musician, so he's got all kinds of recording stuff
There
anyway.
we
But
are.
he could do it like on yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, and maybe you
Sure.
ask him questions, and record it, and then I'll share that even if you want, or if I can interview him, I'd like to meet him because it sounds an interesting person, very interesting,
Yeah, you would love each other. Yeah.
And funny enough, I'm a musician as well.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. I'm using actual stuff. The microphone and the mixer and stuff I'm using could be used for recording music, but I'm using them for interviews instead. Using a Rode
Oh,
microphone and stuff. I've
okay.
got them.
So do you play out or anything or?
No, not anymore. I've got about four guitars. Guitarist I am and songwriter. I used to be. I only write when I'm in bands. I don't write out of bands, but when I'm in bands, I just the inspiration and the songs just come out ding dong then. Yeah, so I've sang in a band before as well years ago.
Okay. Yeah, my son he plays guitar and he can play drums, but he's done a lot of self-recorded things. He hasn't played in bands, and he's went out and played a little bit, but that's kind of hard around here. The scene's not real good, and
Yeah.
um, got a studio though, and he's got a lot of good music. He's a really good musician, but
Oh, that's cool.
but it's kind of hard to get out there and play. You know what that's
Oh,
like.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping when my son's a bit older, I'm gonna maybe join a band, just a cover band, anything, just to get out and play because I sort of do miss um miss that side of things. Not that I've done it a great
Yeah.
deal in my life, but I do sort of miss it.
Yeah, my son would like to do it more, but like I said, he's pretty busy working. So, yeah, well, we'll think about that then. Okay, well, we'll stay in touch, and this has been really nice. So,
Yeah. Okay. I was. Oh, sorry. I'm getting notifications. I don't know if you're hearing it on my mic. Ding dong from mine isn't at the moment.
yeah. Okay.
there we are. I'll speak soon then. Thank you very much.
A great day. Bye bye.
Bye now.